Am I the a-hole for telling my older brother he deserved to be dumped after he made fun of me for crying? I'm a 15-year-old guy, and this week has been one of the hardest of my life. My dog, Romeo, passed away unexpectedly a few days ago. He wasn't just a dog. Many people get what I mean. He was my best friend, and the closest thing to me since I was 3. I didn't think it would hit me this hard, but it did. Now here's the thing. My older brother, 20 male, is the stereotypical tough guy. Super popular, full of confidence, high school musical type of guy, or a typical Disney Channel tough guy. But he also has a bad habit of dismissing anything that doesn't fit into his worldview. We've never been that close. He thinks I'm too sensitive, and I think he's a bit of an ass. But I genuinely thought he'd understand how much Romeo meant to me. I mean, even if he didn't care about Romeo, he could have at least respected that I did, right? You guessed it. He didn't. Yesterday, I was sitting in the living room looking through old photos of Romeo on my phone, and to be honest, I was crying. I thought I was alone. Then my brother walked in, took one look at me, and started laughing menacingly. Literally, it sounded like Doflamingo from One Piece. He said things like, "You really crying over a dog? Man up, it's just an animal." I tried to ignore him at first and ask him to stop, but that just seemed to make him worse. He kept going, saying things like, "What's next? You gonna hold a funeral for him?" And even pretended to cry in a mocking way. I don't know what changed in me, but I snapped. I was hurt, angry, and just so fed up with how crappy he was being. I remembered that not long ago, his girlfriend of 2 years had broken up with him. Ever since, he's been moping around the house, blasting sad breakup songs, and talking to anyone who listened about how heartbroken he is. So I looked him dead in the eye and said, "At least my just an animal loved me. Your girl clearly didn't love you the way she cheated on you. At least my dog died loving me. Your girl is still alive and didn't love you." He froze, completely silent. Then his face went red, and he stormed out of the room without saying a word. Fast forward to later, my parents heard about what happened, thanks to him of course, and told me I was out of line. They said I went too far and that I should apologize because what I said was cruel. But here's the thing, I don't feel like I owe him an apology. He mocked me while I was grieving, dismissed my feelings, and only stopped when I hit him where it hurt. I know what I said was harsh. I know it wasn't the nicest thing I could have said, but honestly, he started it. If he'd just shown me a shred of emotion, or even left me alone, I wouldn't have gone there. Now my parents are pressuring me to make things right with him, but I don't see why I should have to apologize when he was the one who started being crappy first. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Ask your parents where they were when he starts teasing you. Tell them no. A 20-year-old who makes fun of a sibling for crying over a pet is heartless. It also makes me wonder if he has a mental illness. He may be a psychopath or sociopath. I suggest you stay away from him. He has some serious problems. I cried like a baby when my pet died. Tell your parents he's 20, not 2, and he needs to apologize. Go low contact with him when you move out of the house. Thank you for this. I'm very sorry for your loss as well. I actually meant sadist for your brother and he lacks empathy. Sorry for your loss. It's terrible, and then dealing with a sadist makes it much worse. I'm going with not the a-hole. Yes, it was harsh, but it sounds like your older brother pushed you to this point, especially considering how callous he was being. Also, very hypocritical. He can grieve over his failed relationship, but you can't cry over a beloved member of the family? That's rich. My fur baby passed a few years ago, and I know if someone treated me the way he did, I would have an outburst too. Stand your ground. If you want, do an apology like, "I'm so sorry for saying this to you, even though you mocked my pain and sorrow, saying dogs don't matter. I'm sorry that you faked crying when you invaded my personal space to make fun of me and dismiss me. I'm sorry that your feelings seem to matter more." This calls him out. Honestly, he's 20. He's an adult, and you are a minor. His behavior is appalling. Your parents' lack of awareness is too. I actually will do exactly that. Thank you so much. Also, I am very sorry for your loss. Hope you're doing better. Edit. Thanks for all your support and love. I deeply appreciate it. I'm very sorry if I can't reply to everyone's comments, but I truly value all of your opinions, and I'm grateful to those who care enough to help. Thank you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not attending my brother's surprise birthday because it was planned at my house without my consent? I, 33 female, am currently living with my partner and 2 children. My younger brother, 30 male, recently had a milestone birthday and my parents decided to throw him a surprise party. Normally, I'd be all for it, but here's where things get complicated. A week before the event, my mom casually mentioned that they'd planned a surprise party at my house because it's more spacious and centrally located for everyone else. This was the first I'd heard of it, and they hadn't asked for my permission beforehand. I was immediately overwhelmed because my partner has been recovering from surgery, and our house is hardly in a state of hosting. I told my mom that hosting wasn't possible and suggested a few alternative venues. She got upset and said everything was already arranged and changing locations last minute would be too complicated. Feeling cornered, I stood my ground and said they needed to relocate the party or scale it down. The fallout was immediate. My brother, who was accidentally clued in, called me selfish for not accommodating the family on a special day. My parents accused me of ruining what could have been a perfect family gathering. In the end, they hastily rearranged the event at a cousin's place, but the atmosphere was strained, and several relatives made passive-aggressive comments about my absence. I feel terrible for missing the party and causing such a commotion, but I'm also frustrated that my boundaries were disregarded. Am I the a-hole for not hosting the party at my house and choosing to skip it altogether? She got upset and said everything was already arranged, without the prior consent of the homeowner. Clever. Everyone in the family is thinking only of themselves, no one minding your particular situation. But you are the selfish one, huh? Your parents are blaming you for their audacity. But in the end, they hastily rearranged the event at a cousin's place. So it could be done. Not the a-hole. I wish you peace of mind. I equally wish OP peace of mind, because she really deserves it. In all, OP's not the a-hole. Who on earth plans a big party at someone else's house without asking them if it's okay first? This is utterly ridiculous behavior, and I'm willing to bet it's not the first time your parents/family have pulled nonsense like this. You're definitely not the a-hole for telling them no under any circumstances, especially given your partner's health situation. You might want to consider doing a deep dive into your history with your family and unpacking exactly what's going on there, either with or without professional help, because you might need to start standing up for yourself like this more often. You would be surprised. My mom would offer to drive people for certain long-distance occasions, and then tell me after the fact that she needed to use my car because she already planned that. She had a coupe at a time, and it was too small, so she liked using my car instead since it was bigger, but would never ask me if it was okay before volunteering my vehicle for things. Not quite the same thing as this situation, but similar and just as frustrating. I'd also be willing to bet money OP never received a planned surprise party for her 30th. Not the a-hole. It's hard to believe not a single member of your family has common sense. You don't just volunteer a person's home and plan a whole party. And your brother's reaction? He may be 30, but it doesn't look like his sense made it past 12. The audacity. Big not the a-hole to you. We all know who the golden child is now. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for still being no contact with my brother after something that happened 4 years ago? I, 20 female, have a brother, James, 25 male. We used to be really close, but after what happened 4 years ago, I don't feel safe around him anymore. 4 years ago, I stayed at James's house/apartment for the summer. At the time, James was extremely stressed. He was an intern working to become a doctor, not in the US, had a part-time job on the side, had bills to pay, and was also taking care of 16-year-old me. I understood that it was hard for him, but what happened still isn't excusable. Around April of that year, his rent increased significantly, so he took on another part-time job. One day after a long night shift, he came home exhausted and had to head out to a second job soon after. I could tell he was stressed, so I made him some dinner. I left the dishes in the sink because I was also tired and went to sleep. planning to clean up later. The next morning, he started yelling at me to wash all the dishes before he got home. He had already done everything he needed to in the kitchen, so I assumed the dishes just bothered him. I said okay and was walking back to my room to get back to sleep, thinking I could do it later. That's when he snapped. He started yelling at me, calling me lazy and accusing me of being in my room 24/7. I was confused and asked him, "Are you okay?" He took that as disrespect and slapped me. For context, my brother is a gym rat who plays football and boxes. So I was shocked and said, "WTF, you just hit me." I screamed at him, and then he slapped me again, this time hard enough to bust my lip. My teeth bit deeply into my upper and lower lip, and blood was dripping everywhere. I'll never forget his words after that. "Clean this mess up." I had a panic attack that lasted about an hour before I patched myself up. By then, my lip was swollen. It looks like I had done the Kylie Jenner lip challenge, ironically. I packed my things and went back to my parents' house. I didn't tell them what happened, but later that day, my phone started blowing up with texts, calls, and voicemails from James trying to reach me. I blocked him and everything. When he couldn't reach me, he told my parents what happened. They were mad at him initially, but eventually got over it. About a month later, I told him I wasn't going to contact him again, and that he should leave me alone. I made it clear I would never trust him or feel safe around him. We haven't spoken in the past 4 years. But here's the problem. This year, I landed an internship at a hospital I've dreamed of working at since I was a kid. I was so excited that I threw a party for myself, posted about it on social media, and invited all my family, except James, of course. Somehow, he found out. Someone must have given him my social media info because he contacted me using a fake account to ask why he wasn't invited. I told him I hadn't spoken to him in years, so I didn't see why he would expect an invitation. He said that since his family, he hoped I'd forgiven him by now, and accused me of being immature. He also said I should let him celebrate me, because being an intern was a big part of his life too, and he could give me advice. I told him I didn't want anything from him, and blocked him again. Now, I'm getting calls from other family members saying I'm holding a grudge and need to forgive him for a mistake he made. The whole situation has divided my family, and I don't know what to do. Now for the top comment. Not the a-hole. He's lucky you didn't report it to the police. He would have lost all chances at being a doctor after assaulting a minor because of his anger issues. It's crazy, I know, but if he was too stressed about taking care of me, he could have just asked me to go home. I was only there for a while and had no problem going back home. Has he ever truly and sincerely apologized? Has he sought help for his anger issues? If not, keep your distance. He physically assaulted you, a minor at a time, and should have faced legal consequences for it. I don't blame you one bit. Stay safe. I forgot to mention this, but he did manage to reach me once about 3 months after the incident. He said he was sorry, but then added that if I hadn't been acting like a brat, he wouldn't have hit me. After that, I blocked him again. Oh, you drove him to it. That's such a typical rage-filled a-hole excuse. Forget him. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take care of my younger siblings anymore? Hi, I'm 16 male, and along with my twin sister Emma, 16 female, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. Our parents, 45 male and 43 female, have always emphasized the importance of family. But that often translates into Emma and me taking on a lot of responsibility for our younger siblings. It's been this way for as long as I can remember. We have 3 biological siblings. Oliver, 12 male, Sophie, 8 female, and Ellie, 6 female. About 2 years ago, my parents decided to adopt another child, Caleb, 4 male. And last year, my mom gave birth to twins, Noah and Lily. So now there are 8 of us. And it feels like all the pressure of helping raise this big family has fallen squarely on Emma and me. Before Caleb came into the picture, things were already overwhelming. Emma and I basically helped with everything. Homework, dinner, baths, bedtime routines. We missed out on a lot of our own childhood because we were busy raising our siblings. When my parents told us they were adopting, Emma and I were shocked. We tried to explain how much pressure we were already under, but they brushed us off, saying we were overreacting and that this was an opportunity to teach us responsibility. Then, when Caleb arrived, the workload doubled. Just as we were adjusting, they dropped the bombshell that my mom was pregnant with twins. Emma and I were furious. We begged them not to expand the family further, explaining that we were already stretched too thin. They told us we were being selfish, and that as the oldest, it's our duty to help out. Now with Noah and Lily here, I've hit my breaking point. I'm essentially a third parent. I can't go out with my friends without getting guilt-tripped. Emma had to quit her after-school drama club because our parents needed her at home to help with the babies. Whenever we bring up how unfair this is, our parents act like we're ungrateful and say that family comes first. Last week, I finally snapped. My parents asked me to cancel plans to babysit again. I told them no, that I was their unpaid nanny, and they needed to take responsibility for the family they chose to have. My dad called me disrespectful and my mom cried, saying they've done everything for us and that we should want to help. Emma backed me up, saying we're tired of missing out on being teenagers because of their decisions. Now they're barely speaking to us. Oliver overheard the argument and said we're being selfish for not helping out. I feel terrible because I love my siblings, but I don't think it's fair that my life is on hold because my parents can't manage the family they chose to have. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to keep taking care of my younger siblings? There is a huge difference between helping and sacrificing your life. You were absolutely right to stand your ground and should continue to do so. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This is textbook parentification, and it's a form of abuse. You and Emma didn't choose to have 6 younger siblings. Your parents did. They're the ones being selfish by treating you like free childcare instead of letting you be teenagers. Family comes first is just manipulation to guilt you into being unpaid nannies. Your parents chose to adopt and have more kids, while already relying too heavily on you both. Making you quit activities and miss out on your social life to raise their kids is completely unfair. Stand your ground. You deserve to have your own life and childhood. Your parents need to figure out proper childcare instead of exploiting their teenagers. Not the a-hole, but you need to call your grandparents. If you have any normal grandparents, aunts or uncles, they're going to be furious at your parents. Bring in the cavalry. Write up everything you are expected to do. Keep track of it every night for about 4 days. This way, you can show you are not exaggerating. Write down everything you did on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week, and let the other adults know. Get a job outside the house. If you have to hide it from your parents, do just that. Stay away from the house as much as you can. Do not tell them when you are leaving. And for the love of God, do not tell them if you have any money. Keep it in an online account or find a way to get a bank account they can't access. If you think they're likely to sabotage your chances of college so they can keep you as servants, don't tell them when you are taking the ACT, SAT, or any other important test. You won't get any sleep the night before, or they'll wake you up too early the day of. Don't tell them when you've sent out applications. Nothing. They're already sabotaging your ability to earn money by babysitting, and a lack of money will keep you stuck there. Work with Emma to figure out how to save up cash that they can't get to. But most important of all, tell the adults that care about you what is happening.